Design and coding, what it means to me. What is design and coding?
I had this wonderful opportunity because computers had just become visual. The Macintosh just came out. I had a Mac in hand when I went to MIT, and it was a time when a guy who kind of could cross the two sides. It was a good time. And so,
Design and coding can be summarized into three aspects. Let's start off with virtual. Technology has ventured into becoming more digital with the flourish of virtualization, such as in software, storage, memory, and networks. Moving on to visual. With the two aspects of design and code coming together, it allows a visual representation of technology to be produced and softwares to be created, such as processing, that allows you to see your code visually as you produce it. Finally, variety. Code is broad. It has the ability to create software for a range of products such as web, mobile, and desktop development, video games and embedded systems, and the new sectors such as data science and cloud. What is a designer and what do they do?
Instead, what I do and what the designers at Thinking Machines do is we think at some level of abstraction, and then we hand it to the machine, and the machine takes it beyond what we could ever do, much farther and faster than what we could ever do. And in fact, sometimes it takes it by methods that we don't quite even understand.
To design is to produce, whether it be functional, sustainable, or for aesthetic value. A designer is someone who takes an idea and develops it into a final product. This can either be a virtual software or a physical object. How is it different to a craftsperson or a maker?
We have amazing new possibilities. The people who used to be craftsmen and hobbyists are now makers, and they're responsible for massive amounts of innovation. And artists who were formerly constrained can now do things that were never ever possible for them before. So this is a time of great flourishing.
Intention. Though there is not much of a difference between a craftsperson and a designer, the exception is the intention behind both. With a craftsperson, the idea is to repeat a certain process to make a final product, whilst a designer has different and alternative methods to come about the process of creating a final product. However, now it's becoming a blur between the different aspects as they borrow techniques from each other. Why am I studying design and coding?
We're all very, very familiar with the internet. In the last 20 years, it's really changed the way that we live and work and the way that we see the world. And what's great is we sort of think this is the next paradigm shift, because now we can literally take the content that we share, we discover, and that we enjoy, and make it a part of the world around us.
Traditionally, it was viewed that design and code did not go hand in hand, as the two remained in their respective sectors. With this course, the aspect of mixing the two together interested me. Also, insight into a different industry allowed me to gain skills I could use and develop for my coding aspect on future projects. What aspects do I enjoy? I enjoy the coding, maths and circuits aspect of the course, as it's more geared towards the area I am thinking of going into, which consists of interactive animation, such as games in which the software responds to the user. What are my strengths? My strengths regarding the coding aspect is the ability to use processing and create interactive elements so that the software would be able to respond to the user at a basic level. For example, through the use of clicks or hovers, as I now have experience at coding with the programming language processing. What knowledge, talent, and skills would I like to build on? Moving away from the virtual aspect of coding, such as the software, I would like to develop my skills on the hardware element of my code, such as physical designs, and the electronics so I can feel confident in making physical hardware to work alongside my code. In my opinion, what are the 3 most important issues in the design and coding industry at the moment or in the future, and why? Number 1, interface.
And this exhibit lets people use physical objects to grab chemical elements off of the periodic table and bring them together to cause chemical reactions to happen. And a researcher from a science education center in Australia decided to study this exhibit and try to figure out what was going on. And she found that the physical objects that people were using were helping people understand how to use the exhibit, and were helping people learn in a social way. And when you think about it, this makes a lot of sense that using specialized physical objects would help people use an interface more easily. I mean,
With the latest technology getting released that are more touchscreen based or combining virtual reality with gameplay, the use of consoles or arcade devices are getting left behind. However, there can be a balance between both the physical device and interaction to produce a more fluid experience in gaming. Number 2, teaching.
I was a programmer, but no one knew it. The kids of today, they tap, swipe, and pinch their way through the world. But unless we give them tools to build with computers, we are raising only consumers instead of creators. And Ruby also introduced me to her friends, the sort of colorful side of the internet culture. She has friends like the snow leopard, who's beautiful but doesn't want to play with the other kids. And she has friends like the green robots that are really friendly but super messy. And she has friends like Linux the penguin, who's really ruthlessly efficient but somewhat hard to understand. And the idealistic foxes and so on. In Ruby's world, you learn technology through play.
As the younger generation grew up and developed, only knowing the technological age, by making coding easy to understand and absorb, both young boys and girls would be eager to learn code as it can be viewed as something enjoyable and fun, opposed to the stereotypical view. This will give flight to an age of innovators and creators in the coding industry. Number 3, jobs.
If you go back about 50 years, Bill and Ted were leading remarkably similar lives. For example, in 1960, they were both very likely to have full-time jobs, working at least 40 hours a week. But as the social researcher Charles Murray has documented, as we started to automate the economy, in 1960 is just about when computers started to be used by businesses. As we started to progressively inject technology and automation and digital stuff into the economy, the fortunes of Bill and Ted diverged a lot. Over this time frame, Ted has continued to hold a full-time job. Bill hasn't.
With the progression of technology and the startup of AI, it is becoming precedent that machines can be programmed to do some of humans' jobs and to do them better with more accuracy. Whereas using hyperreality to explain the future is a bit of an exaggeration, we could be facing economical issues with traditional jobs being replaced. 2 designers, one designer I admire and one whose work I least like. Casey Reese, creator of processing. His background lies in natural language, machine code, and computer simulations. Summarized in 3 words are conceptual, minimal, experimental. He shows creativity through the use of software. Kunabi brother. 2 brothers who are the creators of Black and Frost. Their overall background is computer programming. Devor's background is software algorithms for composition and sound transformation. Dennis' background is programming and anthologies. Summarized in 3 words, user interaction, minimalist and imaginative. Shows creativity through the development of games. Alex McLean, creator of Tidal Waves. His background is a musician and a researcher. The forms of code allows him to control multiple forms of entertainment, which is very overwhelming to me as he can control music, lights, dance, poetry with his code. He shows creativity through live coding. Looking at the business structures of my designers that I've researched, they tend to either outsource work or collaborate. In addition, when they do want to showcase their work, they use social media, like the example of Thing, and other social media platforms. In addition, because I've used GitHub before, this allows me to collaborate and share my work with other people. Also, for licensing, I'll probably look into more on Creative Commons because that allows me to share my work but also has limitations and restrictions on how to use the license. Towards the future, I will start looking at developing my skills at Unity, as if I do want to go into games development for my interactive animation, Unity is a pretty good software